Hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Trader Chris here, and today I'm going to do a breakdown on Pound USD, looking at possible trade setup for today, which is Wednesday, I believe the 9th of November 2022. So obviously on this time frame, which is a weekly time frame, this is the most important resistance level on the weekly time frame, above which the structure on the weekly time frame truly changes to the upside, such that any pullback would then be looking for buys to target whatever we have on the weekly time frame if we get a candle closing above this resistance zone. But for now, the overall structure on the weekly still seems bearish, but one could not also ignore the fact that price has tapped all-time lows and is also creating higher supports on the weekly time frame. That being said, I would see price remaining in this range between this weekly resistance right here and possibly this weekly support level. So currently price is at the weekly resistance area. If price is going to continue bullish, we need candles to close above this level sufficiently. We need supports to hold above this level, then to target whatever candle closures or the breakout candles we have. I think that would be clearer if we go to the lower time frame. So the general consensus from this time frame is that price is at an important weekly support, and also, price is at an important weekly resistance, and we could potentially remain in this range for a long period of time. Okay, so on the daily time frame, however, we see that price is also pushing up on a daily time frame, but failing to continue above the weekly resistance area. One thing that is quite also important to note is that the volume of the bullish momentum is dying, because you see that this candle closed with a small body and wicks on both sides compared to these previous candles. You see the volume in this candle is depleting until we get to the weekly resistance. So the volume to the upside might be dying as well, which is also kind of which is understandable because price is at a weekly resistance level. However, on the 4-hour time frame, and if I bring all my analysis, this is the weekly resistance area, this old zone. We can also see that price has created resistance and the candles are closing weekly bullish. However, these are still higher support levels. So the game plan I would have for today is, if price can close below this support on possibly the 30 minutes time frame, then one could take a counter trend back to support and see if we get continuation to the upside. Okay, so that's the first plan. If we can close below this support, we could mirror this move and correct this impulsive move from yesterday. And if we get a change of structure from here, then we could take it back to the weekly resistance again for today. So if you look at the hourly time frame, it becomes even clearer. So that currently price is stuck in a range close to the weekly resistance, and the range we have above here is about 30 pips, below which we have 73 pips. So the plan for today on Pound USD is to get a closure above this resistance, to retest again this resistance and see if we get continuation, or if we can close below here. And closing below here, because on the 4-hour time frame we are seeing rejections from the upside. So if we can close below here, we could correct this move and then watch again what happens at this previous 4-hour support. So that's my plan for today. Closure above here to take buys. We'll be very careful at this weekly resistance area. And you don't want to buy at the weekly resistance. You want to buy to the weekly resistance. Closures below here to take sells. I hope that makes sense. So if we look at GJ, hopefully this load pounds JPY. Yeah, correct. So on pound JPY, I'm just going to remove this analysis. I'm still going to leave them there. Basically, if you look at the daily, um, Price has pushed down and is now holding resistance at previous support and resistance level on the daily time frame, meaning buys would be viable if you can break the high of this previous daily candle. On the 4-hour time frame, there's something we call the session bias in TFL. So the session bias is currently mixed because the previous two 4-hour candles closed basically side by side. So we could potentially see a range for this session. Okay, so session bias is mixed on the hourly time frame, and on the 30 minutes time frame, we determine what is the Asian high and Asian low, which is the most recent support and resistance before 7 a.m. my time, and 7 a.m. was right here. So this here should be Asian high, and this right here should be Asian low. So price is currently within the Asian range. And because the session bias is mixed, we could take trades both sides. I would personally love to take buys above the Asian high to retest this previous level of resistance, which is right here. So this would be my target for this session. And because the session is mixed and the previous daily candle also closed at previous resistance, if we close below Asian low as well, one could also take sales to the downside to this previous level of support and ultimately the daily week fill. So the daily week fill should be here. So this would be the daily week fill. So to summarize on pound JPY, the session bias is mixed. The previous daily candle closed at resistance, creating a lower resistance. If you close below the Asian low, you could get a daily weak fill overall, but one needs to watch this previous level of support on the way down. Closing above the Asian as well, we have a cleaner range to the upside to target this previous level of resistance on the 4-hour time frame, I believe. Yeah, this area, and see if we get the continuation to the upside. So that is it, guys. I hope this helps. Trade safe and ensure you use proper risk management. Bless you.